Imagine waking up each day with a clear mind, laser-sharp focus, and boundless energy. It's not about working harder, but smarter. Meet Ethan, a regular guy with an extraordinary routine that transforms his brain power. Ready to learn his secrets? The digital detox. Ethan, a software developer, has a secret strategy to combat distraction: the digital detox. Each afternoon, he takes a 1-hour break from all screens. No phones, no emails, no notifications. Why? Because constant digital noise overwhelms the brain's dopamine receptors, leading to mental fatigue and restlessness. During this time, Ethan steps away from his desk, takes a slow walk, or just sits in silence. It's not just about disconnecting. It's about giving his brain a much-needed breather. Studies show that regular digital detoxes improve focus, reduce stress, and restore cognitive clarity. For Ethan, it's like pressing the mental reset button, clearing away the digital clutter and creating space for deeper thinking. And when he finally reconnects, he's sharper, more intentional, and ready to tackle complex tasks with renewed vigor. The One Problem Journal. Before Ethan calls it a night, he opens a blank notebook and writes down a single unresolved problem from his day. It could be a challenging project at work, a difficult conversation, or even a lingering decision. But instead of obsessing over solutions, he simply outlines the problem. No answers, no analysis, just the raw issue. Why? Because the brain is a problem-solving machine, and by highlighting a single problem before sleep, Ethan activates his subconscious mind to work on it overnight. It's a phenomenon called sleep processing, where the brain continues to analyze and connect ideas even while resting. The next morning, as he showers or sips his coffee, Ethan often experiences a burst of clarity. The elusive solution suddenly becomes obvious. Over time, this habit not only reduces his stress, but also trains his brain to approach problems strategically, fostering a mindset of resilience and resourcefulness. Light movement. While most people associate intense workouts with mental sharpness, Ethan takes a different approach. Each evening, he engages in light movement, a slow-paced walk, gentle yoga, or light stretching while listening to calming music. It's not about breaking a sweat, it's about stimulating the brain's neuroplasticity. Light movement increases blood flow to the brain, releasing a protein called BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which acts like fertilizer for new neural connections. It also reduces cortisol, the stress hormone that clouds judgment and impairs focus. For Ethan, this evening ritual is less about physical fitness and more about mental clarity. It's a way to unwind without exhausting himself, to decompress without zoning out, and to prepare his mind for a restful night's sleep. And the effects last well into the next day, as his mind feels lighter, more focused, and more prepared to handle complex challenges. The morning walk. At 8 a.m., Ethan laces up his sneakers and steps outside. The world is still waking up, the air is crisp, and the streets are calm. This 20-minute walk isn't just about exercise. It's a deliberate ritual to activate his brain's default mode network, the mental state associated with daydreaming, creative thinking, and problem-solving. Research shows that walking stimulates divergent thinking, the ability to generate new ideas and unconventional solutions. The repetitive motion of walking also calms the mind, reducing anxiety and clearing mental clutter. For Ethan, this daily walk is a mental warm-up. Without music or podcasts, he lets his mind wander, allowing fresh ideas to surface organically. By the time he returns, he's not only physically energized, but mentally primed to dive into his most demanding tasks with renewed creativity and focus. Brain food. When the clock strikes noon, Ethan takes a break for lunch. But it's not just any meal. He carefully selects foods that fuel his brain, not just his body. His plate is a strategic combination of omega-3 rich salmon for brain cell communication, antioxidant-packed blueberries for cognitive protection, and a square of dark chocolate to boost blood flow to the brain. But Ethan doesn't just focus on what he eats. He also pays attention to how he eats. No screens, no distractions, just slow, mindful bites that allow his brain to register each flavor and texture. Why is this important? Because eating while distracted hijacks the digestive process, increasing cortisol levels and impairing nutrient absorption. By being fully present during meals, Ethan not only nourishes his body, but also reinforces the mind-body connection, reducing stress and enhancing overall cognitive function. The 90-minute rule. Ethan's most productive work happens in concentrated 90-minute bursts. Instead of grinding for hours, he structures his day around ultradian rhythms. natural cycles of mental alertness that last about 90 minutes. During these sessions, he eliminates distractions, sets a clear goal, and dives deep into his most mentally demanding tasks. But what makes this method so powerful? The brain is wired for intense focus, followed by brief recovery periods. By working in 90-minute sprints, Ethan capitalizes on his brain's peak performance windows, maintaining high energy levels without burning out. And the 15-minute breaks aren't wasted time. They're intentional resets. Whether it's a quick walk, a few stretches, or a glass of water, these breaks allow Ethan to recharge, preventing mental fatigue and keeping his productivity consistent throughout the day: the cold shower. At 6:30 p.m., Ethan faces a challenge that most people would rather avoid: the cold shower. The initial blast of icy water hits like a jolt of electricity, sending a shiver down his spine. But for Ethan, this momentary discomfort is more than just a shock to the body. It's a deliberate mental reset. Why cold showers? The science is compelling. When the body is exposed to cold, it triggers the release of norepinephrine, a powerful neurotransmitter that heightens focus, boosts alertness, and improves mood. Think of it as a natural brain stimulant, minus the caffeine crash. For Ethan, the shock of the cold water not only sharpens his senses, but also teaches him to stay calm in moments of discomfort, a skill that translates into every area of his life. But there's more. Cold exposure activates the body's parasympathetic nervous system, reducing inflammation and relieving muscle tension. It's a natural way to combat the mental and physical fatigue accumulated throughout the day. When Ethan steps out of the shower, his skin tingles, his blood flows faster, and his mind feels as if it's been rebooted. Yet, the mental benefits go deeper. Embracing discomfort is a psychological exercise in building resilience. Each time Ethan voluntarily steps into the cold, he's reinforcing a crucial lesson. Discomfort is temporary, and pushing through it leads to strength and clarity. Over time, this simple ritual rewires his brain to perceive challenges as opportunities rather than threats. And it doesn't stop there. Cold exposure has been linked to increased dopamine production, the neurotransmitter responsible for motivation and reward. For Ethan, the post-shower feeling is like a surge of positivity, a natural high that carries him through the evening, keeping his mind focused and his energy levels stable. For those new to the practice, Ethan recommends starting with 30 seconds of cold water at the end of a regular shower. Gradually, the body adapts, and what once felt unbearable becomes a source of strength. And as Ethan steps out of the cold towel wrapped tightly around him, he doesn't just feel refreshed, he feels unstoppable. The curiosity burst. Every afternoon before diving back into work, Ethan takes a mental detour, a 5-minute curiosity burst. It's a quick but powerful exercise designed to keep his brain in a state of perpetual learning. But unlike structured study sessions, these bursts are driven purely by curiosity. Ethan might dive into a random topic: the psychology of decision-making, the evolutionary origin of laughter, or the science behind memory retention. The subject doesn't have to be relevant to his work. In fact, the more unexpected, the better. The goal is to engage the brain in divergent thinking, the type of thinking that fosters creativity and out-of-the-box problem-solving. Why does this matter? Research shows that curiosity stimulates the brain's hippocampus, the region responsible for memory and learning. When we're curious, the brain releases dopamine, the neurotransmitter linked to pleasure and motivation. This not only makes learning more enjoyable, but also strengthens neural connections, enhancing memory retention. For Ethan, these 5-minute bursts are like mental snacks, small, digestible bits of knowledge that keep his mind agile and open to new ideas. And the effects linger. Later in the day, he often finds himself making connections between seemingly unrelated topics, sparking insights that he wouldn't have considered otherwise. But there's another layer to the curiosity burst. It fosters a growth mindset. Instead of approaching each day with a fixed set of tasks, Ethan allows his mind to wander, to explore, to question. This openness cultivates intellectual humility, the willingness to admit that there's always more to learn. And as he expands his mental horizons, he becomes more adaptable, more creative, and more prepared to tackle unexpected challenges. Ethan also incorporates a curiosity burst before bed, letting his mind drift through random questions or concepts he encountered during the day. This not only reinforces the learning process, but also primes his brain for subconscious problem-solving while he sleeps. True mental mastery isn't about doing more. It's about doing what matters most, with intention, focus, and balance. Don't forget to subscribe.